Your life did not become heavy in one day. It became heavy one small burden at a time, one more worry, one more promise, one more screen, one more fear, one more thing you told yourself you had to carry. Now you wake up tired before the day even begins. You call it stress. You call it being busy. You call it normal. But deep down, you know the truth. This is not life. This is noise wearing the face of life. A crowded life can become a slow funeral for the soul. The Stoics knew something most people still refuse to face. Peace does not begin when the world finally becomes easy. Peace begins when you stop letting the world rule your mind. So tonight, let us strip life down to what is real. Let us walk back to calm, step by step, like a Stoic. Look at your life for a moment. Not the version you show people, not the version you defend with smart words. Look at it as it really is. You are always thinking, always reacting, always carrying something. Your body may be still, but your mind keeps running. You wake up, and the race begins. Messages, plans, bills, work, pressure, news, noise, the silent fear that you are already behind. And even when the room is quiet, your head is not. You reach for your phone for no reason. You replay old pain. You imagine future problems. You feel guilty when you rest. You feel weak when you slow down. So you keep going. That is the strange pain of modern life. You are tired, but you keep moving. You are empty, but you keep giving. You are lost, but you keep performing. And because everyone around you is also drowning, the madness starts to look normal. You tell yourself this is adulthood, this is success, this is responsibility, this is what strong people do. But no, this is what happens when the mind loses its center. A person does not fall apart in one loud moment. They fall apart in silence. They fall apart in routine. They fall apart while still smiling. They fall apart while saying, "I'm fine." Maybe you know this feeling. You finish one task and feel no relief. You solve one problem and another takes its place. You get what you wanted, but peace still does not arrive. Why? Because the problem is not only outside you. The problem is that life has become too full of things that do not feed the soul. Too many voices, too many choices, too many wants, too many fears, too many things asking for your attention. And when everything feels important, nothing is clear. That is why your focus feels weak. That is why your patience is thin. That is why your joy is shallow. Your inner world has no room to breathe. There was a time when you could sit and simply be. Now even rest feels like failure. You sit in silence, yet your mind is loud. You lie in bed, yet your heart keeps working. You take a day off, yet your guilt follows you like a shadow. This is not just tiredness, it is inner disorder. And inner disorder has a cruel effect. It makes small things feel heavy. It makes simple things feel hard. It makes love feel like duty. It makes one delay feel like disaster. It steals your presence from the people you care about. Worse than that, it steals your own life from you while you are still alive. As you start missing the moments that should have saved you. A sunset, a meal, a walk, a kind word, a breath of fresh air, a quiet evening, not because they were not there, but because your mind was somewhere else. That is the tragedy. Many people do not lose peace because life was too cruel. They lose peace because they were never fully where life was happening. They lived in tomorrow. They lived in regret. They lived in fear. They lived in comparison. They lived in noise. And the soul cannot heal in a crowded room. There is another wound hidden inside this problem, the need to control everything. You want people to understand you. You want plans to go right. You want effort to be rewarded. You want the future to be safe. You want pain to be fair. But life does not obey desire. And every time reality refuses to match your demands, you suffer twice. First from the event, then from your resistance to it. This is why many people are not crushed by life itself. They are crushed by their war with life. They want certainty in an uncertain world. They want comfort in a world that changes. They want peace without letting go. But peace never enters a life ruled by grasping. Still, most people do not notice what is happening. They keep adding more goals, more things, more pressure, more proof that they matter, more reasons to stay anxious, as if inner chaos could be fixed by outer expansion. But a crowded life often hides an empty center. The Stoics would look at this and say something very simple. You do not need more. You need less that is false. Less noise, less panic, less pride, less showing off. Less begging life to be different before you allow yourself to breathe. Because maybe the deepest reason you suffer is this. You have made life so full that there is no space left for your own soul. And a person with no inner space becomes easy to disturb. One rude comment ruins the day. One delay creates anger. One mistake becomes shame. One rejection becomes a story about worth. Why? Because there is no stillness inside to absorb the blow. Everything hits too hard when the inner structure is weak. That is why you feel fragile. Not because you are broken beyond repair, but because you have been pulled too far away from yourself. You have been trained to answer everything and return to nothing. You have been taught how to achieve, but not how to be still, how to compete, but not how to endure, how to impress, but not how to understand your own mind. So the days fill up, the years pass. The face grows tired, the heart grows guarded. Then one quiet moment comes, and a painful truth rises. You have built a life you can manage on paper, but not carry in peace. That is the problem. Not just stress, not just busyness, not just modern pressure. It is deeper than that. It is a life that has drifted too far from the essential. And until that is faced, nothing truly changes, because the thing you are starving for is not more control. It is inner order. And inner order begins the moment you stop calling chaos normal. Now comes the part most people do not want to hear. Your life is not only complicated because the world is hard, it is also complicated because part of you keeps helping the chaos grow. That truth hurts. It hurts because it takes away the comfort of blame. It hurts because it places a mirror in front of your face. Yes, life is unfair. Yes, people disappoint you. Yes, money becomes pressure. Yes, the world is loud, but not every burden in your life was forced on you. Some were invited, some were fed, some were protected, some became part of your identity. You say you want peace, but how often do you protect the habits that destroy it? You keep every door open. You answer every call. You worry about every opinion. You carry every old story. You turn every feeling into an emergency. Then you ask why the mind is tired. Because you do not only have a full life, you have weak boundaries. And a life with weak boundaries becomes public property. Everyone gets access to your energy. Everything gets access to your attention. One small event enters, and it steals the whole day. One careless word enters, and it stays in your head for a week. One fear enters, and it builds a home. This is the hard truth. Many people are not ruled by fate. They are ruled by untrained attention. They do not choose what deserves their mind. So everything enters, everything stays, everything drains them. The Stoics would say, The mind must be guarded like a city gate. But most people live with no gate at all. They let strangers, trends, anger, old pain, envy, and endless desire walk straight in. Then they wonder why there is no peace. Here is another truth. You may not hate complexity as much as you think. Part of you may be addicted to it because complexity can feel important. It can feel noble. It can make you feel needed. It can give your ego something to hold. A simple life can look too plain to the ego, too quiet, too honest, too ordinary. Many people would rather feel overwhelmed than empty. They would rather feel busy than face themselves in silence. Why? Because silence reveals what noise hides. It reveals fear. It reveals grief. It reveals loneliness. It reveals the fact that many things you chase do not truly satisfy you. That is hard to face. So the mind creates more movement, more plans, more goals, more distraction, more drama, more reasons not to sit still. Not because these things are always needed, but because stillness would force a meeting with the self. And not everyone is ready for that meeting. This is where the old dream must break. You were taught that more means better, more money, more choices, more speed, more comfort, more followers, more praise, more proof. But the soul does not heal by that rule. The soul often heals by subtraction, less noise, less craving, less pretending, less rushing, less performing. The world says, fill your life. Wisdom says, clear your life. Those are not the same. You also need to hear this. Some of the pain in your life remains because you keep giving it a meaning it does not deserve. Not every delay is a disaster. Not every mistake is a sign you are failing. Not every rejection is proof you are not enough. Not every hard season means your whole life is falling apart. But the untrained mind turns moments into verdicts. Something goes wrong, and you say, nothing works for me. Someone walks away, and you say, I must be broken. You feel behind, and you say, I am losing at life. This is how suffering multiplies. Reality hits once, then the mind hits again and again. The Stoics warned about this. They knew that people suffer not only from events, but from the judgments they attach to events. A hard thing happens. That is pain. Then the mind adds shame, fear, pride, drama, and story. That is extra pain, self-made pain. A large part of human exhaustion comes from this habit. You are not tired only because of what happened. You are tired because of what you keep telling yourself about what happened. That matters. Because what thought can inflame, thought can also calm. Now let us go deeper. You cannot build peace while trying to impress people who are also lost. A huge part of human stress comes from performance, trying to seem successful, trying to seem happy, trying to seem strong, trying to seem right, trying to seem unbothered, trying to seem ahead. This performance becomes a second life. And the second life is often heavier than the first. You dress your wounds in nice words. You decorate confusion. You defend choices that hurt you. You buy things you do not need. You say yes when your whole body wants to say no. Why? Because image has become more important than truth. But peace only visits truth, not image, not status, not the life you display. The life you actually live. And here is perhaps the hardest truth of all. No one is coming to simplify your life for you. No one will arrive at the perfect moment and remove the noise. No one will protect your mind better than you. No one will give you a peaceful life while you keep feeding chaos. At some point, you must stop waiting for the world to become gentle. You must become clear. That is the Stoic turn. Not bitterness. Not coldness, clarity. Clarity that says, I cannot control everything. I do not need everything. I do not have to react to everything. I do not have to carry what is not mine. I do not have to keep living in a way that empties me. That is not weakness. That is the beginning of freedom, because the painful truth is also a gift. If part of the chaos was created by your habits, then part of the peace can also be created by your choices. That means the door is not locked. That means you are not trapped forever. But first, the fantasy must die. The fantasy that peace will come after you control the world. The fantasy that more success will calm the mind. The fantasy that outer order alone can save an inner storm. No. Peace is not the reward at the end of endless striving. Peace is a discipline, a way of seeing, a way of choosing, a way of refusing what weakens the soul. That truth gives you responsibility, but it also gives you power, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Your life is too complicated not only because life is hard. It is too complicated because you have allowed too much into the sacred space of your own mind. That is the wound. And now, finally, we can speak about the cure. The Stoic way begins with one clear question: what is in your control and what is not? This sounds simple. It is not. Most people live as if everything should obey them. They want the weather to match their mood. They want people to think well of them. They want effort to guarantee reward. They want love to stay forever. They want time to slow down. They want pain to ask permission before it enters. But life makes no such promise. The Stoics understood this with brutal honesty. They did not teach that life would become easy. They taught that the mind could become steady, not by ruling the world, but by ruling the self. Epictetus came back to this point again and again. Some things belong to us. Some things do not. Our choices belong to us. Our actions belong to us. Our judgments can be examined. Our character can be formed. But reputation does not belong to us. The past does not. The future does not. Other people's minds do not. Chance does not. Loss does not. The timing of life does not. When you confuse these two worlds, suffering grows. You try to command what cannot be commanded. You neglect the one place where your true power lives, inside. That is why Stoicism is not about becoming cold. It is about becoming ordered. A Stoic still feels grief, still feels fear, still feels pain, still feels love, but a Stoic does not kneel before every feeling as if it were truth. They pause, they examine, they choose. That pause is sacred. In that pause, you stop being a slave to impulse. Imagine someone insults you. The untrained mind reacts at once. Anger rises. The voice hardens. The day is poisoned. The Stoic mind does something else. It notices the insult. It notices the anger. Then it asks, what here is mine? The other person's words? No. My judgment of those words? Yes. My response? Yes. My dignity? Yes. And in that space, freedom appears. This does not mean you become passive. It means you stop handing your inner world to other people. Marcus Aurelius lived this truth in the middle of war, sickness, politics, betrayal, and death. He did not speak from comfort. He spoke from pressure. Yet he returned to the same truth again and again. Your mind can remain your own, even in chaos, even in grief, even in a cruel world. That is why Stoicism still matters. The world changed. Human weakness did not. You still face uncertainty. You still face desire. You still face anger, fear, loss, and noise. The Stoic answer is still clear. Do not demand a painless life. Build a stronger center. There is another pillar of Stoicism that matters here: acceptance. Many people hear that word and think it means surrender. It does not. Acceptance means seeing reality without fighting the fact that it exists. The rain is here. The loss has happened. The person has changed. The plan failed. The season is hard. Now what? The Stoic does not waste life screaming at facts. The Stoic turns to the next right action. This is where so much human energy is lost, not in the event itself, but in resistance. You keep saying, "This should not be happening." Maybe, but it is happening. And reality does not soften because you hate it. When you stop arguing with what is already real, strength returns, not all at once, but enough for the next step. That is why Stoicism feels both stern and peaceful. It removes fantasy. It removes self-pity. It removes the wish that life should obey your preferences. Then it gives you something better, a grounded mind, a mind that says, "I will carry what is mine to carry. I will release what is not mine. I will meet this moment as it is. I will not add poison to pain." That is a Stoic mind. Think of a simple example. You are stuck in traffic. The old mind says, "This is horrible. My day is ruined." The Stoic mind says, "Traffic is here. Anger will not move the road. I can suffer uselessly, or I can bear this well." Same event, different judgment, different life. Think of rejection. Someone you trusted leaves. The old mind says, "I am broken. I was not enough." The Stoic mind grieves honestly, but it also says, "I do not control another heart. I control how I carry this, what I learn, and whether I keep my character intact." That is not cold. That is mature sorrow, sorrow with structure. The Stoics also valued simplicity, not because comfort is evil, but because dependence is dangerous. The more things you believe you need in order to be calm, the more fragile you become. If you need praise to feel whole, you are weak. If you need constant ease to remain kind, you are weak. If you need life to go your way before you can breathe, you are weak. Stoicism trains the soul to need less from the world. That is a hidden form of wealth. To be content with little, to stay decent in discomfort, to stand steady in uncertainty, to keep your peace when the day is imperfect. This is power without display. So the Stoic path is not escape. It is alignment. You stop trying to control what was never yours. You stop worshiping comfort. You stop believing every thought. You stop feeding every desire. Then slowly, life becomes lighter, not because the world changed, because you changed your relationship to the world. This is the heart of it. The Stoic does not ask, "How do I make life obey me?" The Stoic asks, "How do I become the kind of person who is not broken by what life does?" That question changes everything. And once it takes root, you are ready for the next step, not just understanding peace, practicing it. Understanding is not enough. You can admire Stoic wisdom and still live in chaos. You can repeat good ideas and still remain weak. Inner strength is not built by agreement. It is built by training, quiet training, daily training, often invisible training. If your life is too complicated, recovery must begin with subtraction, not dramatic change at first. Clear change. Start with attention. Your attention is your life in small pieces. Where it goes, your energy goes. Where it stays, your inner world begins to take shape. So ask yourself every day, what is feeding my mind? What enters through my eyes? What enters through my ears? What enters through the people I stay close to? What enters through my own repeated thoughts? You cannot build a peaceful mind with a violent stream of input. If every morning begins with noise, outrage, comparison, and fear, your soul will move in that direction. Guard the first hour of your day. Do not give it to the world. Do not begin with reaction. Sit up, breathe. Wash your face slowly. Stand by a window. Step outside if you can. Let your first contact be with reality, not with chaos. A quiet morning is not a luxury, it is a form of defense. Now train the pause. This is one of the most practical Stoic skills. Between event and response, place one breath of distance. One breath before speaking. One breath before replying. One breath before assuming the worst. One breath before turning discomfort into drama. That one breath can save a friendship, a day, even a future, because most damage is done in speed. Speed of anger, speed of fear, speed of wounded pride. The pause breaks the spell. Then reduce what is unnecessary. This sounds obvious, but very few people do it with courage. Look at your week with honesty. What do you keep saying yes to that empties you? What do you keep buying that solves nothing? What do you keep watching that leaves your mind dirty? What conversations leave you smaller? What habits promise relief but leave you dull? Cut with honesty. Not everything that is available deserves a place in your life. A Stoic life is not a crowded shelf. It is a clean table. Only what serves truth, duty, health, and character should stay for long. This includes mental clutter. Stop reopening old courts inside your head. Stop trying the past again and again. Stop rehearsing conversations that will never happen. Stop building 10 futures and fearing all of them. When the mind drifts, return it. To the breath, to the body, to the task in front of you. This is not denial. This is discipline. Another practice is to name things plainly. The mind is easily trapped by dramatic language. You say, "My life is falling apart." Perhaps the truth is, one plan failed. You say, "I cannot handle this." Perhaps the truth is, this is painful, but I can meet it. You say, "Everything is too much." Perhaps the truth is, I have taken on too much, and now I must choose differently. Plain language calms the soul. It removes the fog that panic creates. The Stoics were strong in part because they refused to worship exaggeration. They looked at life directly. You should do the same. Now let us speak about chosen hardship. The Stoics sometimes practiced discomfort on purpose, not to punish themselves, to free themselves. A cold shower, a simple meal, a long walk without music, a day with less comfort and less excess, an hour without the phone. Why? Because when you face small hardship willingly, you fear life less. You remember that you can endure. You remember that comfort is pleasant, but not sacred. You remember that your strength is larger than your habits. A person ruled by comfort becomes fragile. A person who can stand some discomfort becomes calm. Train also in silence, not empty silence, honest silence. Sit with no screen, no music, no task, just sit. At first, this will feel strange, then difficult, then revealing, because the mind will show you what it has been hiding: restlessness, sadness, anger, need, fear. Do not run. Observe. You are learning the shape of your inner world, and when you can observe it without panic, it begins to lose power. Writing helps here. At the end of the day, ask yourself simple questions. What disturbed me today? Why did it disturb me? What was under my control? Where did I act with dignity? Where did I lose myself? This is not for shame. It is for clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself because he knew the soul drifts without guidance. You need that guidance too. Not from endless advice, from honest self-examination. Then there is the discipline of limits. You do not need to be available all the time. You do not need to explain every choice. You do not need to answer every message at once. You do not need to keep every connection alive. You do not need to enter every conflict that invites you in. Some peace is built by saying no without guilt. No to what steals your center. No to what feeds confusion. No to what makes you betray your own values. A strong person is not the one who carries everything. It is the one who knows what not to carry. You should also train through the body. Walk slowly, wash your hands and feel the water. Drink tea without doing anything else. Take one deep breath before entering a room. Feel your feet on the ground when the mind starts racing. This sounds small. It is not. The body anchors the mind. When thought becomes wild, physical presence becomes medicine. Do not wait to become peaceful only in big moments. Train in ordinary moments, in traffic, in waiting lines, in small delays, in rude exchanges, in tired evenings, in disappointment that does not make headlines. A calm life is built in common hours, not rare dramatic ones. There is another layer to inner strength, knowing what matters. If everything matters, you will collapse. So choose your pillars: character, truth, duty, health, a few real relationships, a mind that can sleep at night. Let these be enough. The Stoic life is not empty. It is selective. It refuses the lie that a human being must chase everything to be whole. You do not need to win every game. Some games should not be played at all. And remember this: building inner strength will feel lonely at times, because the world rewards speed, display, and endless hunger. It may not understand your stillness. It may call your limits cold. It may call your simplicity boring. It may call your quiet life small. Let it. Not every opinion deserves entry into your mind. The crowd often laughs at the medicine it needs most. You are not trying to impress the crowd. You are trying to save your soul. That means there will be moments when you choose the hard right thing over the easy noisy thing. You leave the room early. You put the phone away. You stop explaining yourself. You keep your word. You do the work in silence. You go to bed instead of chasing one more distraction. You sit with your own thoughts instead of running from them. This is how inner strength is built, not in one shining moment, but in 100 small acts of self-respect, day after day, quietly, until one day you notice something has changed. The things that used to shake you do not shake you the same way. The things that used to tempt you do not own you anymore. The noise is still there, but it no longer enters so easily. That is not luck. That is training. That is the beginning of freedom. Now listen carefully. Your peace will not be handed to you. No one is coming to rescue your mind. No perfect season is coming to save you. No amount of praise will fix your inner chaos. No new purchase will heal a restless soul. No future version of you will magically become calm while the present version keeps feeding disorder. This is the turning point. You must decide. Will you keep living as a servant to noise? Will you keep opening the gate to every fear, every screen, every opinion, every old wound? Will you keep calling this life when deep down you know it is slow self-betrayal? Enough. Enough chasing what leaves you empty. Enough carrying what is not yours. Enough saying yes when your soul is saying no. Enough building a life that looks full and feels dead. There comes a moment when a person must stop negotiating with their own destruction. This is that moment. You do not need a new identity. You need courage. Courage to cut what weakens you. Courage to disappoint people. Courage to be misunderstood. Courage to sit in silence and hear what your life has been trying to tell you. You are tired for a reason, not because you are weak, but because you have been living against your own nature. The soul was not made for endless comparison. The heart was not made for constant performance. The mind was not made to carry the whole world. So put it down. Put down the need to explain everything. Put down the need to be liked by everyone. Put down the need to control what was never yours. Put down the dead weight of imagined futures. Put down the old stories that keep you chained to a former self. You cannot walk into peace while dragging 10 years of noise behind you. You cannot heal in the same rhythm that wounded you. Something must end. Let the false urgency end. Let the addiction to busyness end. Let the worship of more end. Let the habit of inner chaos end. And let a harder, cleaner truth begin. You are responsible for the condition of your mind. That sentence is heavy, but it is also holy, because the moment you accept responsibility, you stop being a victim of every passing storm. You become a builder, a guardian, a person with an inner wall, and once that wall is built, life can still hit you, but it cannot enter so easily. The Stoics did not become strong because life was gentle. They became strong because they stopped asking life to be gentle before they would stand up. Do the same. Stand up inside yourself. Stand up against your own excuses. Stand up against your own scattered habits. Stand up against the soft lies that keep you weak. Tell yourself the truth. My life became too complicated because I allowed too much in. My peace left because I did not protect it. My mind grew tired because I trained it to kneel before every distraction. Good. Now you know where to begin. Not out there. In here. In the hidden place where your judgments are made. Where your attention is given. Where your character is formed. Where your freedom is either built or buried. This is your wake-up call. Not to become perfect. To become clear, not to escape life, to meet life without collapsing. Not to chase peace as a mood, to build peace as a way of being. And once you do that, the world loses some of its power over you. The noise still exists, the pressure still exists, the pain still exists. But now there is something stronger inside, a mind that can say no, a heart that can endure. A soul that no longer begs the world for permission to be calm. That is the awakening. That is the Stoic fire. Quiet, steady, unbreakable. So where does peace begin? Not in a perfect future, not in a quiet world, not in a life with no loss, no pressure, no disappointment. Peace begins in a smaller place. It begins the moment you stop making your soul kneel before everything. It begins when you breathe before reacting, when you tell the truth instead of performing, when you choose less but choose it well, when you guard your mind like something sacred, when you stop asking life to become simple before you become clear. That is the real shift. You may still have work. You may still have bills. You may still have grief. You may still have problems that do not go away soon. But now you will meet them differently, and that changes everything. Because a peaceful life is not a life with no weight. It is a life where the weight is carried with order. It is a life where the mind is not fighting 10 wars at once. A life where the heart is no longer chained to every passing thing. A life where your energy is not leaking out through every open door. The Stoics never promised comfort. They offered something far more lasting. Inner ground, a place inside yourself that remains steady when the world does not. That place is still there in you. Buried, maybe. Ignored, maybe. But not gone. And every time you choose clarity over confusion, it returns. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, it grows. Every time you choose truth over performance, it becomes stronger. So take your life back slowly, not with panic, not with grand promises, not with another form of pressure. Take it back with simple acts, a quieter morning, a slower breath, a cleaner boundary, a calmer answer, a smaller life that holds more soul. This is how peace comes back. Not all at once, but honestly. And maybe that is enough for now. Maybe tonight you do not need a total reinvention. Maybe you only need to put one burden down. Maybe you only need to close one door. Maybe you only need to stop calling chaos normal. That would already be a beginning. And sometimes a true beginning is more powerful than a perfect plan. So if your life feels too complicated, do not despair. Simplify your mind, guard your attention, carry only what is yours. Let the rest pass by. Then, little by little, you will find something the world cannot sell you: a quieter heart, a clearer mind, a stronger soul, and at last, a kind of peace that does not depend on luck, a stoic peace, a peace that remains.